Welcome to the Sustainable Path podcast, where we uncover the stories and solutions driving a more sustainable world. I'm Irene, your host, and each episode we explore the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, sharing inspiring stories and practical tips on how you can make a difference. Join us to learn, act, and be part of the global movement for a better future. Let's make sustainability the new normal.
Hey guys, thank you for being here in another episode of this amazing podcast. I'm very happy to have you here again. In this occasion, I'm going to continue speaking about the SDGs as a matter of introduction. To give you more details about the SDGs, more facts, and this is what I want to do today. Give you some facts about the SDGs that you may not know. And I would also like to provide you with some steps or actions that you can take in order to apply or, to try to achieve the SDGs as much as possible in your life, in your daily routines, and also encourage others to do the same. The most important thing for me about doing this is that you can plant the seed and continue speaking about the SDGs in other places with other people. I really liked what some of you said in our session, which is maybe you didn't know about this, maybe you didn't know about recycling, you didn't know very much about the products that you consume, but now after listening to these podcasts, these episodes, after reading about these articles and knowing more about the SDGs, you can start implementing actions in your life that can help us to achieve or to be more, I would say, closer to these goals. Of course, if we think about ourselves as just a single human being, it's almost, I don't know, sometimes we have pessimistic pessimistic thoughts because we are just one human being, like a normal human being, without no power, with no power in this world, I would say, to make things better, to change things. But this is not true. If everybody thought in this way, it would be very, I would say, frustrated because nobody would do anything, right? The first thing that I want you to say is, or that I want to mention in this first part, is about the facts that I told you. I really found interesting things about the Sustainable Development Goals. And the first thing is that, I don't know if you knew, but the Agenda 2030 or the Sustainable Development Goals are also called the World Future Treaty. And this is called like this. It is also called in this way because the implementation of these goals are ensuring that future generations can grow up in a world worth living in. That means that we have a better world for our grandchildren. The world is becoming suitable for grandchildren. Why? Because if we think about our grandchildren, not even us, I think that in 50 years I'm not going to be here, but probably my niece and my nephew, your nieces and your nephews, your children and grandchildren are going to be here. And I just want to ask you this question just for you to think about it. Are they going to have enough resources? Are they going to have enough resources to survive? This is actually a very hard question, and it's hard to think about it. Sometimes that's the problem. I think that sometimes we don't even want to think about this because it provokes us anxiety. At least with me, I think about this and I start having like a panic attack, literally, because I think about how is this world going to be. Right now we are experiencing the climate phenomenon, which is called El Nino, and I'm very worried, guys. I'm here in Guanacaste and it's not raining, and when it rains, it's like a hard storm and hailing and everything. So, oh my God, what is going on, right? So think about it. We need to ensure that our grandchildren have a suitable world to live with enough resources. That's what we need to understand and what we need to have in mind. Another interesting and I would say controversial fact that I want to share with you today is the fact that, we know that all the countries, almost all countries and states, members of the United Nations have signed this agenda, right? The Agenda 2030. But there is one particular state or particular, I would say state or country that it didn't sign or haven't signed for this, which is Kosovo. And Kosovo is not recognized by the United Nations as an independent state. So it's quite, frustrating to know that maybe some countries are being left behind or, being left behind because of controversial and political reasons. And obviously, people are going to be affected. People who live in these countries are going to be affected. Then, another important aspect that the SDGs is trying to touch in this agenda or to achieve, I would say, is the arms exports. You know that the SDGs number 16, this is the goal for called peaceful and inclusive societies. Specifically, this goal is trying to overcome all forms of violence, guys, all forms of access to procedures that encourage people to buy illegal arms. And the most important thing is to avoid everything that has to do with arms exportation. And it's obviously fighting against corruption, right? I'm thinking right now in Costa Rica because it's the place where I'm living currently. And we know, guys, that Costa Rica is facing very difficult moments in terms of crime, in terms of violence. We have a lot of people killed because of drugs and drug dealers. And there are a lot of illegal arms. And this needs to stop, right? This needs to stop. And how can we do? I mean, like, this is another question that I'm going to ask here. What can I do to stop criminality? What can I do to stop corruption? Another nice fact that I wanted to share with you today is probably you may think about who is evaluating or monitoring that the goals are achieved correctly. Well, let me tell you that while I was investigating about this topic, because I had this question as well, like, okay, who is monitoring, who is evaluating this? And I found that there is a United Nations commission who, that evaluates the implementation of this, of the basis of an annual SDG progress report. And this is done by the UN Secretary General. So they review the global level, how is this carried out? And they say if the implementation is correctly done, or if they have to review the implementation, like if they have to reorder certain actions that they have not done correctly in specific countries. And I really think that without this UN Secretary General commission, this wouldn't be possible, right? But are they doing it correctly? Is it this done correctly? Let's just analyze it, think about it. Maybe you can investigate more about this, like in your countries, how is this regulated? Who is in charge of monitoring that this is being achieved? I just wanted to share with you these important and interesting facts. Please let me know or let us know while we meet together in our live sessions or even on Patreon, which are the facts that you also found or have found about the SDGs. What did you find interesting about these goals? Then, guys, I also wanted to share some important aspects about each of the goals that this agenda covers. For example, if we go to the goal number 1, which is no poverty, did you know that approximately 700 million people still live in extreme poverty? This is a lot of people, right? So by understanding the root causes of poverty and also supporting initiatives that provide equal opportunities, I think that we can put our heads together and strive for a world where no one is left behind. Obviously, as I said at the beginning, this is quite difficult because I don't know, we are here fighting against extreme poverty. And this is one of the facts that I forgot actually to mention at the beginning. And what I wanted to say is that the SDGs or this agenda, the most, I would say the greatest global challenge for them is to eradicate poverty worldwide. And when I'm talking about eradicate poverty, I'm talking about, or I'm including all forms and dimensions about extreme poverty. So what can I do as a person? I have found here several programs and several institutions have a volunteering programs where you can go and teach. For example, in my case, I can teach English to people who live in very poor areas in Costa Rica. So I know that I'm not going to eradicate poverty by doing this, right? But at least I'm helping, I'm doing something. So think about it. I'm going to send you some proposals or some places where you can go and help, or you can also find the way you can at least try to eradicate poverty in your community. If we talk about goal number 2, which is zero hunger, shockingly, about 820 million people suffer from chronic undernourishment. So it's very, very, as I said at the beginning, it's shocking. Like those numbers are shocking, but we can make a world of difference. How can I do it? We can do it by supporting sustainable agriculture. We can also do it by promoting food security and also reducing food waste. If we think about goal number 3, guys, which is good health and well-being, everybody knows that health is a fundamental right for all, right? I need to be healthy to do everything in my life, right? So by walking the talk and ensuring access to quality healthcare, promoting mental health, well-being, and also preventing diseases, we can create a healthier future for everyone. And how can I promote this mental well-being? How can I do it? How can I prevent diseases? Well, sometimes I think about COVID, and we can prevent this kind of things by vaccinating, like vaccination is important. I don't know if you have done it or not, if you believe in COVID, or if you're these people who are against COVID and you believe that this was an invention by somebody, Chinese government, the United States, etc. I don't know what is your opinion in this topic, but I definitely believe that doctors did a great effort by eradicating and controlling and preventing this heart disease, which is COVID. So think about it. How can you also encourage others to prevent this kind of things? I'm going to mention goal number 4, which is quality education. I'm going to tell you about something very sad, and I didn't know that over 260 million children worldwide are still out of school. Um, I went to one of these days. We went to a touristic place in Costa Rica, and there was a kid. She was from Venezuela, and this group of people, like big families. I think that there were like 3 families were or are stuck here in Costa Rica. They are trying to move to the United States, and I saw these kids selling some sweets and candies, and it was so sad to see them there. Like they are not studying, they are not in the school, and it's crucial to plant the seeds of change by providing inclusive and equitable education opportunities to everybody, no matter the gender, no matter the social economic background, sorry. And again, I would ask you, just for you to have it there. How can you do it? How can you promote and how can you provide this type of inclusive and equitable education for everybody? Is it in your hands to do it? Think about it. Let's talk about goal number 5, gender equality. There are a lot of gaps between genders, and this is something that we know. Everybody knows that if we go to the workplace, we know that there is a big gap between genders, and it's essential to have a fair and just society. And here is where I ask you, are you fair? And are you fair with people? Are you trying to end discrimination in your workplace with among gender, like with friends, among your co-workers, in your university, in the college where you work? We need to empower women and also girls. And we need to create inclusive work for everybody, for everyone. I think that it was my partner who told me one of these days that in Spain, one guy just kicked some girls who were kissing in a park. And we were discussing like why people are so indifferent, why people are so, they are always uncomfortable with situations like this. We need to understand that people have the right to love everybody, like no matter what, nobody who. It was frustrating for me to read this news because it is 2023, guys. We are in the 21st century. This shouldn't happen nowadays, but it's happening. And I think that it's in our hands. Sometimes we send memes and messages, I don't know, just to laugh about gay people, just to laugh about trans people. And this is very serious. This is a hard topic. We need to encourage people in our workplace. Our family in the workplace is where we spend most of our time, right? And there is where we need to plant the seed. Plant the seed is what we need to do in terms of gender. I'm going to move on to the goal number 6, which is clean water and sanitation. I was telling you before that my niece and my nephew, our grandchildren, your children, my children, everybody in the future, I asked you before, are they going to have enough resources to survive? And this is very related to the access to clean water. This is a basic human right, guys, and yet millions of people lack it. They don't have it, right? So it's our responsibility to share and to support initiatives to ensure that there is clean water resources for everybody. And this starts in our house, you know. How can you do to have responsibility? Like what can you do to support this kind of initiatives? If we talk about goal number 7, which is affordable and clean energy, I'm very happy because in Costa Rica, we were talking about this actually in our live session. We have clean energy. We actually export clean energy to Nicaragua, and I don't remember if we mentioned another country. To be very honest, I do not know very well about this information, but we need to, I mean, like, to understand that climate change is combated and ensured by affordable and reliable energy for everybody. Of course, this is a topic that maybe, as I said before, you can say, no, but this is just something that should be cared in the government, right? By people in the government, by people who are professionals in this area, but we can actually do little things to ensure that we have this clean energy. Let's talk about goal number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. So there is this crucial challenge that I mentioned before, which is eradicating poverty and eradicating extreme poverty, right? And if we have decent work and economic growth, we can actually create inclusive and sustainable economic growth, you know, for everybody. Foster entrepreneurship, promote job opportunities, and ensure fair working conditions to everybody. This is literally the most important goal, I would say, because if we ensure that poverty is eradicating, everything goes smoothly, I would say. Goal number 9 is about industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So thinking of outside the box is essential to foster innovation and to build resilient infrastructure. We can do it actually in our homes. We can start creating the way for progress just in our house, you know, like thinking outside the box by building more sustainable houses, avoiding buying materials that can contaminate. This is all, you know. Goal number 10, as we discussed it, is to reduce inequalities. How can we do it? And a drop in the ocean can make a significant impact when it comes to reducing inequalities. How can we do it? We can do it by promoting social, economic inclusion, you know, ensuring opportunities. For example, I'm trying to make sure that people can speak English, and this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to provide equal opportunities for everybody. I'm trying to help people to have job interviews in English. This is what I'm trying to do. Of course, you can do it with other type of actions, right? Goal number 12 is about responsible consumption and production. I was telling you about the products that I normally buy and eat. And I told you about the products that I buy in the supermarkets. I avoid buying products that are full of plastic. I try to make sure to read where they come from. And I try to avoid plastic in all senses. So those responsible consumption habits reduce waste and this is vital for our planet's health. I would say also to encourage other people. Sometimes I try to mention this in my family gatherings. I mention it in my friends' gatherings, and people are interested about it. Try to do it. Embrace also sustainable practices. Recycle, minimize resource use. I definitely think that we can contribute to a more sustainable future. This is very linked to the following goals. For example, climate change or climate action. As I told you before, I'm very worried about the fact that here in Costa Rica, it's not raining in some areas of the country, but in some other areas, it's raining a lot, like crazy and big storms. So this is one of the greatest challenges, as well as extreme poverty, right? So we need to create awareness, guys. I think sometimes people don't really understand what is happening nowadays. Reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. So how can you do it? How can you reduce greenhouse gas emissions? How can you adapt to climate change impacts? How can you promote sustainable practices and encourage others to do it? This is going to be your homework. I will leave it there. Think about it. I'm asking you these questions for you to make sure you start thinking about this. This is important. It's our planet. Everybody lives here. Guys, life below water and life on land are the following goals, goal 14 and 15. And oh my God, water, our oceans are threat from pollution. I don't know. Sometimes people say like, we were having this debate of I don't eat pineapple and I stopped eating Nutella, etc. But do you still eat tuna? Did you know that by 2030, tuna will probably disappear because everybody is overfishing? And this is a big problem. This is threatening our oceans. Of course, I don't want to make here another controversial debate, but it's about what we eat. It's not that I'm going to stop eating a product specifically. I'm just going to reduce the consumption of different products that are affecting the ecosystem. I need to promote sustainable fishing practices, reducing the pollution and trying to safeguard the ocean for future generations, because as I told you before, are they going to have enough resources to survive? And the same happens with life on land, right? I don't know if you know, but Costa Rica has almost 3%. Probably I'm inventing this number, but it's like between 2 or 3% of biodiversity in the world. And this is a significant number, but the loss is also a significant concern in terms of the risk of extinction. So, are you eating meat? Okay, nice. But how much are you eating meat? Like we are promoting like this sustainable. Are we promoting the sustainable practices, or are we continuing eating meat that probably were not processed correctly? The cattle was not taken care correctly, because I eat meat. And guys, I will be very honest with you, I don't want to stop eating meat, but how much do I do it? Think about it. Think about these things. And just to finish, I want to talk about goal number 16 and 17. You know that 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. Guys, we need to know and inform ourselves when we vote for the president and for people who are going to take care of our country, the legislation. We need to ensure that there is access to justice, and who are governing our countries. This is something that we need to make sure we understand. This is very important. Finally, goal number 17 is partnerships for the goals. So achieving the SDGs requires literally collaboration, and partnership, so at all levels. Why? Because together we can mobilize resources, we can share knowledge, expertise, work towards common solutions for a sustainable future. And again, I'm not talking about going to Europe. I'm talking about not going to America. Just go to your community first. Think about your community first. Partnership. Who can you have? I mean, like, who can be your partnership? Like, for example, I can partnership my, I don't know, my friend, and we can together create an association to teach children who are living in extremely poverty, right? And in that way, I can start finding common solutions for a sustainable future. I just wanted to tell you about this from my heart. I really, really believe that we can make a change, guys. It's in our hands. I just want to finish this episode by exploring together how we can make a world of difference. And we can do it by thinking outside the box and putting our heads together. For example, the step number 1, I would say, is to walk the talk and educate ourselves. You need to start familiarizing with the SDGs and understanding their underlying issues. You need to learn about each specific goal, guys, each specific target, and how they relate to the world around you. By educating ourselves, we plant the seeds of change and we become better equipped to contribute meaningfully. And then, guys, we need to bridge the gap and prioritize responsible consumption. You need to consider the impact of your everyday choices and your consumption habits. By opting for sustainable and ethically sourced products, reducing waste, and embracing a minimalist lifestyle, I am pretty sure that we can bridge the gap between our actions and the SDGs. Remember that even small changes can have a significant ripple effect. Guys, step number 3, share the load and collaborate. Recognize that achieving the SDGs requires collective effort. Join forces with others who are similar or who have similar interests and values. Engage with local communities, as I said before, nonprofits organizations who are working together the SDGs. And together I can be sure that you can make an impact and share the load. Step number 4, rise to challenge and advocate for change. Use your voice, guys. Influence to raise awareness about the SDGs. You can share other people what we are talking about in this club right now, nowadays. I know that we started talking about the goals like just 2 weeks ago, but believe me, guys, the next episodes are very, very nice. We are going to be talking about the goals specifically. Each episode is going to be about a specific goal. And I'm going to bring a lot of topics for you to start making awareness, to raise awareness. Where are you buying your clothing? It's not about stop consuming a specific product that you eat, but where are you buying your clothing? Are you buying in chain? Are you going to this American stores where they produce the clothing in Asia? Like, it's a lot of things that we need to start thinking about. Speak up for issues that matter to you, whether it's through social media, writing articles, and then you can share it. On Instagram, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to speak up by doing it on Instagram, on this club. Try to engage in conversations with your friends, with your family. Encourage them, encourage your colleagues to take actions, be part of the solutions. Try to be the change, be the catalyst for change in your circles. Step number 5, embrace innovation and think creatively. Think outside the box, guys. Find innovative solutions to address the SDGs. I don't know, you can look for ways to integrate sustainable practices in your job, in your hobbies, in your daily routines, in your hobbies. Stop going to the gym by car. Try to go by walking. I don't know, try to take the bus sometimes. You have to support businesses also and initiatives that are actively working toward the SDGs and contribute your unique skills and talents to drive positive change. What am I doing? What am I doing? Are you putting your skills and talents to drive these positive changes? Guys, finally, just to conclude with these steps, celebrate the progress and acknowledge the impact. Remember that even a drop in the ocean can create ripples of change. Celebrate the progress made, both on an individual and collective level. I'm pretty sure that by acknowledging our efforts and the impact that we've had, we inspire others to join us in making a world of difference. I'm very, very happy of doing this, as I think that Andrea was the one, she said at the beginning of our meeting last Saturday, that I wanted to do this before. Andrea has been with me for 2 years now, and I always told her I want to do something like this. I always told her I wanted to speak about the SDGs. It was something that was in my heart, you know, I wanted to do it. And now that I'm doing it, I'm celebrating the progress, guys. This is not a perfect episode. I had a lot of errors, but I'm doing it from my heart. I truly believe that you can make the progress and you can make the change in all this chaotic world. Everything that is happening with war in Ukraine, with poverty, guys, this war, of course, is going to make people even poorer, right? But how can you help actually people from Ukraine? Think about it. I just want to finish, guys, by telling you that definitely following these steps and incorporating the SDGs into our daily lives and contributing to these goals can make a big difference. Let's raise to the challenge, share the load, and create a better future for generations to come.